Anyway, I was just kind of going over the out. I think I just you probably left off on me going over the outline of the episode. So as you can see, we just had the intro, talked a bit about that, and then the process of picking a game that's going to be the game that you're going to be practicing. You know, you're going to want that to be a game that you like, that you love, and that's not always going to be an easy process, but that's going to be part of the process. And I was mentioning too, I'm not sure if the stream died before, but this is also going to be formatted off of the full extent of the jam guide written by ProMetheus, loosely. I think I already kind of talked mostly about that. I think that's going to be on the first archive. Anyway, then moving on to basic Mame setup. And this is something that I know a lot of kind of people are unfamiliar with how to use Mame. It can be kind of intimidating at first, especially to people who are, you know, they've never kind of done an emulator like Mame before. It's very basic though. There's only a few things you need to know to get it running good, get it running nice, and you know the big benefit of using Mame is going to be that you can use save states. But there's going to be other methods of practice that I'm going to go over, and I have those on my own personal notes here. Those are not going to be on the stream, but that's going to be. I'm going to use my notes here to help go through this episode, and then we're going to go on to exactly practicing all the stuff that goes into that, and then I will be demoing basically how I would practice, kind of showing you all the different save states that I got going on and how I use them. And then with that, we'll be going into kind of some techniques. Hopefully my save states will be able to show off some techniques that you learn basically from just playing specific parts of the game, because you know sometimes the shmups, you know, it can be sometimes very kind of action, and then you laid back part of the stage, and then there's a very intense moment, and it's laid back. That's very true for a lot of games too, where it's like you might have to come up to a trick as you're going through a stage, and then you're laid back a little bit. You're just doing the stage, and then you do kind of like a specific thing, and then you fight a boss, which is just nonstop goodness. And then finally, at the end of the stream, I'll talk about performing, which is taking your practice and bringing that into your actual run. And there's a lot to kind of consider when it comes to taking parts of your practice and bringing it into your performance. And there's some key tips and things you can easily forget when you're trying to bring the practice into the full run. You can't just phone it in all the time. Like, it's not going to be straight up just practice this, bring it right into the run. A lot of times there's you have to understand that there's a flow to the game, so different methods of practice are going to help bring it all together. Anyway, I'm glad the stream isn't dropping again. So we got an outline here, and I'm gonna show you guys the other scene here. That'll be the other scene. Let's see what I'll show you what you guys are saying in there. But so this is gonna be kind of my version of the guide. I'm gonna try to keep this under an hour. I don't want it to be too long. But so why don't we get right into it? So picking a game. Well, I guess picking a game. I mean, and the idea of practicing games for score, survival, a goal, that's very much a thing that's part of STG Weekly and Awesome Game Replays, and part of a growing trend, with esports, League of Legends, etc. People are actually, esports and people getting good at games at a competitive level is becoming more and more relevant, and a great hobby for gamers, and I'm hoping that's going to be a hobby that will continue on through time, because there's a ton of good games out there, a lot of good arcade games. A lot of arcade games are very nice, and these games are programmed very nicely. And the nice thing about excelling in a game too is it shows off the game design. But it's kind of I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. So basically, you have the thrill of score, thrill of 1cc. It's why we play the games, etc. So when you're starting out, you got to pick a game, right? So yeah, my thing I always say about what game you want to really invest the time into, I like to say, hey, where'd the audio go in this? Yo, where'd my audio go? I'm really confused because I don't have audio on my side. Alright, I think you guys can still hear that background music, but my audio just died completely for a reason I don't know why. Anyway, so yeah, picking a game. Main thing I can say is, you know, you want to play a game that you like, that you've played before, hopefully, and you know, different games are gonna have a different style of gameplay. You know, not all games are gonna suit you, and that's very much like a difficult part of getting into, you know, a genre or any game. Like, you gotta find that game that you really like. So I just say, you know, if you're at the phase where you don't have a game that you want to try to practice, you don't know, just try various stuff, and getting Mame or something like that, if you like arcade games, is a great way to try a lot of different games, or emulation in general is a great way to just try games before you invest in the real thing, whether it be a PCB or a console port or what have you. Of course, Mame will be nice because it's a faithful reproduction of the game. Alright, I really don't know why my audio stopped. Oh, you know what? It's because my speaker audio went out. Okay, give me a moment. Okay, I got audio back. I get to feel better. I need a little. I need that comfort, you guys. I need that comfort of the shmup music in my background. So now I got my audio back. Yeah, play a bunch of free and cheap stuff. You know, whatever. So, and also when you're picking a game, yeah, okay, the audio is not stopping for you guys, I realize that. Also, when you're picking a game, you want to consider your options for practice as well. So, is the game you're going to be playing, are you going to have the option for a stage select? Are you going to have the option for save states? You know, this is something to minorly consider, but you are going to want some type of way to practice. Just doing straight cold runs completely is not going to be a great way, unless it's a really good game that's kind of, you know, it starts from beginning to end, like it's kind of using all the techniques of the game. And you know, there are games like that, and where you can just play credit to credit, and it won't feel like you're coming to a wall every time you're playing the game. And that's kind of the main reason you kind of go to practice, is because when you're playing single credits, you might run into a wall, a literal wall, or a tricky part, and you're gonna want to isolate that section and go and practice it. So what you're getting into, you know, with kind of learning a game, you're gonna eventually develop, you know, coordination between the hand and eye skills, ability to accurately anticipate movements. You'll be doing like accuracy of timings. You'll be working on various timings. You know, reflexes will also be a part of it. Memory is also a big part of shmups and learning games, of course. You got to know it in and out to actually perform correctly. Nervousness control is another thing. We're gonna talk about nervousness near the end of the talk, and with in terms of performing, that's a different topic. And you also get into you know, mastery of execution, and that's with your controller of choice as well. Yeah, there's not any video right now. So yeah, essentially, once you learn your skills, you're gonna be able to transfer those to other shooting games or other video games, whatever you're doing. You should be able to transfer those skills and those ideas of practicing to other games. And I also recommend to focus on one game, as to not be overwhelmed at first, because yeah. So yeah, we're going to be getting into video examples of some of this stuff as we go on. Evil Oatmeal, and here's the other scene. Yeah, I know there's not a lot of video right now, and this is kind of an experiment for me to do this guide, and I don't want to make it too long either, but Anyway, I'm gonna do a quick basics on setting up Mame. So it's gonna be very simple. You're gonna get your Mame, and I'm gonna run up a couple of different versions. Right now, I'm gonna bring up Shmup Mame version 4.2. I'm gonna bring it up here. Well, in a moment, I guess. Okay, so there it is. I had this prepared a little bit more. But anyway, like, you know, here's your basic Mame. So you won't have all these games in here to begin with, but basically when you run up Mame, just go to the Options tab, and you're going to want to make sure that Mame knows where your ROM path is. So, you know, this is bringing up this window here. We got GUI paths, Mame paths, mess paths. In this case, it's the Mame paths, and we have the ROM sets directory path. So you just want to go in here, set that to where your ROMs are. Just put a directory in there so that Mame can pull out of your ROM folder and put the games as available for selection in the main menu. So you just go ahead and do that, and once you do that, it should automatically refresh your list so that these games will appear. Otherwise, you can hit F5 and it will audit the list. It basically is just rechecking your ROM directory for games. So that's kind of the one thing you want to do. You want to get your games, and then you only have a few basic options that you want to go to. You want to go to Options, Default Game Options, or something similar to that. You'll bring up a window with a bunch of different tabs and kind of stuff like this. You got Core Video, OSD Video, the screen options. So main thing you're gonna want to make sure is fine. Like, you can just run it. You don't really have to change anything. But one thing that what you want to make sure to turn off is this. This right here. This is in the OSD video options. It's gonna be in one of the video options. It's bilinear filtering. It's going to be defaulted to be on. You don't want that to be on. It's going to make your games look like shit. So go ahead and uncheck that, and you'll have crisp pixels for your Mame. And so just make sure you have that off. It's really one of the main things that you need to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and run up a game now, and just kind of go into setting up the controls of Mame, and then we'll move on basically to controller, and then practicing, which is what this video is all about. So let's just run up a game real quick here. I'm going to be demoing Guange. So I'm just going to run this up real quick. Basic Mame controls here. F11 is going to bring up kind of your stats on how well your Mame is performing. So right now, that 100% means it's, you know, not dropping any frames. If that number drops to 98% or 97, oh, sorry about that. That means a Mame isn't performing at full speed, and you're not going to be wanting to play at that speed. So you make sure it's at 99 to 100% for most of the time. And then you can advance the frames with F10, make it go fast. F11 toggles that out. And then Tab is going to bring up your menu here. You're typically going to want to just go to Input General. So this will make it so all of your games that you load through Mame will have your controller configured for that. You just go to Player 1 controls. You know, make sure you got your ups, you got your buttons, and then you've got other controls. This will be usually start and coins. Make sure they're set there as well. And then user interface is another important one. This is where you can configure your save state and load state buttons. And I put them on my arcade stick, but you're going to want a convenient location for your save state and load state buttons. And so when you save a state, you assign it to a key on the keyboard. and eventually you'll end up using all of the keys on your keyboard when you're really getting into practicing, and we'll see that in a little bit here. Anyway, so that's your basic stuff. Auto fire setting, just that same thing. Custom buttons, I should go into this real quick. Oh man, I didn't have that on stream. Oh Jesus. Fuck. Okay, I'm just gonna go back over the stuff I just talked about. Oh, I just closed the game. I'm just gonna go over that stuff real quick again. I don't need to explain it, but anyway, yeah. So here's input general, and input general, player one controls, up and down, the buttons. Hit escape to go back. User interface is going to be where the save state and load state buttons are. Other controls. Okay. So you got that. Custom buttons is a certain thing that a lot of people aren't completely sure how to use. But these custom buttons, you will need to use them for certain games like Gradius games. You're gonna want you're gonna want some custom buttons, like a custom button for a non-auto shot and a non-auto missile. So let's see. Say I want button 1 to do something, custom button 1 to do something. I'm gonna hit the number 1 here. I can hit 2 or 3. These are the button numbers. So I want custom button 1 to do something. You're gonna go back into your input, or you're gonna go back here. Yeah, you're gonna go back into your input general, player 1 controls. You're gonna find your custom button. You're gonna make sure that's bound to what you want to do, and then if you wanted auto fire on that custom button, you could turn it on here on the auto fire. You can turn it on for your regular or your custom buttons. So there you go. Oh man. I'm just really improvising this episode, but hopefully it's gonna work out here and people are actually gonna learn some things. So that's a very basic Mame tutorial there. Some games you'll want to use slider control to lower a certain volume, but not really that important. The video options, you can actually bring it into like a vertical aspect or rotate it here if you like. Woo woo. Etc. etc. So there's your basic Mame tutorial. All right, so moving on. So we've picked the game. You know what game you're going to be practicing, and in this case, I've picked Guwange, so I'm going to use this as my demo. And so now we're going to go into the effectiveness of methods of practice. So it's kind of a broad topic on exactly what's the best kind of practice, and it does depend on what your game or what your setup is allowed to do. But with Mame, you can do save states. So I'll be kind of talking mostly about that. But stage select, using continue, stage select is a great way to practice. Or a lot of the modern cave games have stage select, and they let you go to a boss, or start from a mid boss. It's just really great to have checkpoints where you can start from certain points of the game, because you don't want to play through the whole game and just to practice that one part that you're messed up on. You want to isolate that part alone, and then go practice that. And so you want to do that the best that you can, whether it be an area select or whatever. So save states are basically going to be your most effective way of practicing. It's the most dirtiest way of practicing, but it is the most effective. So I've been talking about finding your problem spots in the run, and things that you want to go smoothly, because the goal is you want your run to be smooth. You want everything to go according to plan. You want to have a plan, and so in learning a game, you're basically establishing a route that you're going to be going through. And that route is can be very strict depending on the type of game. Dodonpachi is a chain-based game where you're always going to want to be in a certain position on the screen to, you know, chain the next enemies. That's a very strict kind of route. But, you know, route or routing, it's also referred to, you're going to want to have this idea that you're going to want to know what you're going to be doing. So save states is kind of a thing that's going to help you solidify your end route. The route that you're going to be using when you finally do the full runs. So you know, this also is going to be going into, you know, when you're learning a game, you can just choose to learn it based off your own gameplay, everything that you know alone. However, the best way of getting better is to gather information from other people, other players, and for, you know, in an arcade culture in Japan, that's going to be the players seeing each other's runs, watching their runs, and talking with the other players, and, you know, kind of having a little bit of dialogue about what's the best way of doing this part, or is it this way. But you can basically gather a lot of information just from observing how other people will play, and a lot of times with shmups, you know, they become very optimized in such a way that the Japanese players have basically dwarfed a lot of basically the rest of the shooting game community with how dedicated their scores have gotten. So in some games that are very strict on a certain route, you're going to want to look at the super play and really basically copy what they're doing. But there's a catch-22 to that, because if you're copying a super play too hard, you're not going to be understanding what that person is doing. You're not going to be getting it. But if that can bridge the gap between you getting that idea and eventually accomplishing it, that's going to be the most valuable thing, because you can get kind of inspiration or ideas from watching a super play, or in some cases it's going to be literally copy pasting like certain parts of their route into your gameplay. But so I also have an opinion on this. I don't like to copy super plays like verbatim. I don't like to a lot. I enjoy the notion of kind of making the run my own, but that notion is still exaggerated, even though it's my opinion, because there's still gonna, like, one way or another, you're gonna and see a ton of improvement, because you're taking the wisdom of these other players. You know, they've been playing for years. You're taking that wisdom, and they're basically cutting out that line. And this, you know, like, once again, this will differ from game to game. And for some games, it's not going to matter as much how much you copy a super play or how much you know, take from a super play. But learning from others, getting information, just like this video you're watching now, is going to be definitely key to enjoying yourself a bit more and actually getting a score that you want to kind of strive for. Okay. So we talked about the isolating oneself. So trying to isolate yourself completely when you're learning and practicing a game, because you can, it's very possible to develop bad habits, and every super player, every player is gonna run into this at one point or another, where they'll develop bad habits when they're learning. Just like learning an instrument, it's possible to, or learning anything really, it's possible to develop bad habits in the learning process. So part of checking out the replays is skipping that that part of the learning process and starting out with good habits. And that's information that is a little hard to find. It comes with experience. Anyway, so we got an idea of kind of what's going on with that. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more about Guwange, and actually show you kind of what my save states are gonna look like. during this game. And this is going to be very kind of messy. I mean, these are basically the save states I was using when I was last practicing, but we're going to take a look. So here, this is the beginning of stage 5. I just got it here because, you know, I want to start at the beginning of stage 5. There's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, so basically you're gonna want to vary your practice workout essentially. You're not gonna want to practice like one thing over and over and over, and then you might be neglecting other parts of the game. So, you know, ProMetheus in the full extent of the jam, his example was he liked to go and practice like the last boss of the game, just for like really intense action, because you want to make your practice session fun. Practice is going to be fun. Like, it's going to be fun because you're taking the hard parts that are like the most rewarding to get through, and you're perfecting them. You're getting great at them so that you can show off during the main run. So your practice is going to be fun. You want it to be fun. So you got to vary your practice in that regard. So let's see here. Here you had this is a save state at the very beginning of the final form of the last boss. You know, definitely something you're probably gonna want to practice is the last boss of your game, because that's the end of the run. So here you go. I mean, this is like my method here. So I'm get my, I don't know, whatever. But here we're at the last boss. So and then here's just like a part near the end of the last of the stage 5. Like, you'll want to make save states that are for very specific parts. You're going to want to make save states for basically checkpoints throughout the run. You're going to want to basically get all sorts of different types of chunks, because if you isolate the parts too individually, you may be approaching that part in the actual run, and then the flow of your gameplay is not going to match what you were practicing. And that is why you should practice from stages fairly often from time to time. So let's take a look at some other save states here. This is the beginning of stage 3. And here's basically the mid section of stage 3. And then we got Cat Spider, the beginning of Cat Spider. Not really a super important part for me to practice the beginning of Cat Spider in this particular game. I'm not going to go too in detail about Guange itself, but this is a save state for the biggest point section in the game, is the Cat Spider Milk. The game's kind of known for it. It has this pattern here, which each time you cycle through, it gets more and more aggressive. So we'll take a look at just how aggressive it gets here. So this is a little bit later on in the attack. And you know, they expect you to actually, you know, survive this attack consistently if you want to actually basically get a good score in this game. It's very difficult because you got to get the full game chain, but so basically this Cat Spider part, it's like you can milk it for a long time, and it's incredibly difficult because you gotta deal with this pattern, which is very random. So there, if you survive it, then you get to shoot the pumpkins again, which leave these coin trails. And basically, I could practice this all day. Like, Cat Spider is fun. It's a lot of fun. So let's take a look at some other save states I got. So here, more Cat Spider, another Cat Spider. This is just this will be an example of a specific save state I made. This is like the very tail end of the hardest place to keep the chain going in the game. So I made a save state here just so I could specifically practice just this part alone. And looks like I did it, but I took a hit. So that's a specific save state. This is kind of another kind of specific one. Just practicing this little section here. Kind of tricky. So you're gonna want to have them for basically all sorts of parts. You're basically gonna be wanting them for every little part that gives you trouble. Like you're gonna want to cover all angles as the player. So here we got another one. You know, this is the Wild Wild West save state, stage 2. This is the Guange Baby. This is the Wild Wild West. Great place to practice because, well, you get a ton of points here, and this part's pretty dangerous too. Anyway, so you get an idea of what save states look like now, and kind of the different parts. So I do kind of want to try to get into some techniques that go into playing shmups, trying to show those off with save states, but I don't think Guange is going to be the best game for this, so I might have to go to something else here. But you know, I wanted to try to incorporate. Okay, I could talk about this. So, one of the main things in learning a shmup too. So we're gonna go into kind of techniques and how to play. Is where to look. It's a very common question about where to look in your shmup. And with Guange is a decent example of kind of where to look. So right now I'm playing it, you know. And just a little bit about Guange. So when you're holding full auto button, the C button, and then or if you just hold the shot button, you summon your Shikigami. So you know, this thing I'm like waving around the screen. I'm actually waving that around the screen manually. That's the Shikigami here. And in Guange, when you have the Shikigami deployed, you can only move left and right. But the thing is you have it deployed and you're constantly like killing stuff that's coming ahead of you. And this kind of is the same for a lot of shmups, because the Shikigami, I'm gonna be focusing that like on all the enemies as they come ahead. Like I know what to expect. So at this point of I'm pretty familiar with this game, so I know what to expect, but you know, I'm usually looking at the top of the screen. I'm not looking directly at my character very often. I'm looking at all the enemies at the top of the screen, every enemy that's appearing right away. Guange is very much so a game about, you know, killing stuff as fast as possible, and at the same time, you know, canceling the bullets for coins, which you normally do with your Shikigami deployed. And when it destroys enemies, you get a bullet canceling effect. So, you know, that was a little hairy. So basically, you want to try to look like kind of mid-screen. You want to see what's coming. And so I'm usually looking at the top of the screen. But, you know, sometimes it's going to get really kind of hairy, like right now. You know, I had a lot of bullets kind of really close to me there. And then I kind of brought my vision down to, like, closer to my character. So I could actually see, you know, which bullets in my proximity are the ones that are most dangerous. You have to assess the threat level when you're playing a shmup at all times, and so you know they're making me assess the threat level at the bottom of the screen right there, and not so much the top of the screen. For the top of the screen there, for the top of the screen at that section, I'm just kind of wagging. So I have a save state right for this section. I'm just kind of wagging the spirit up here, and I'm like paying a bit more attention to the bottom of the screen, you know, making sure stuff isn't in my way. However, there are a couple spiders here I want to destroy. So I gotta make sure I get them while I'm dodging the stuff down there. This is like a section that really, it's like, this is a section of like a lot of tug and pull with kind of where you're supposed to look. So, you know, when you're practicing a shmup, you know, it really will help you learn these concepts, and kind of just the act of conquering something in a simulation scenario is gonna raise your confidence level by like 1,000,000 points. So the fact that, you know, I can practice that is very, very nice, because it's kind of a stressful section. So here's a section that's kind of a bit of tug and pull as well. I'm not putting a ton of focus into where I have the spirit. I just know that I'm just killing stuff and making sure it's dead, and then I'm bringing it to the next part of these enemies. And if I do that correctly, I don't have to worry about actually like looking too close to my character there. Everything is already taken care of. So in that way, you know, Guange actually shows you that being prepared ahead of time is the key to survival, and it's also the key to survival in a lot of shmups, a lot of games. So memorization obviously is a thing. Ooh. So there you go. A little bit of Guange demonstration there. So hopefully that should cover where to look. Like I say, it's going to depend on the situation and the threat level. So the worst thing you can do is just look at your character all the time. So I'm gonna just see if I can actually pull that off. I'm gonna look at my character exclusively during that one section. Let's see, maybe what would be a good example? Okay, maybe this one. So I'm only gonna look at my character here and see how it goes. So I'm just like looking at my guy. I'm getting protected. Oh, I took a hit. Oh, but I can dodge those kinda because I'm looking right at it. I'm surviving. Well, it worked out. But I didn't feel comfortable just looking at my character. So I'm gonna do that again, looking at everything else. See, my muscle memory in Guange has me just kind of always wagging that spirit around, because that spirit's really doing all the work for you. Yeah, that's a decent assessment, Blackbird. Yeah. But yeah, so you're always like your main priority is to expect what's coming, and then if the threat level calls for it, look closer around your character. And if you really do not need to look directly at your character, what you can do is use your shot to tell exactly where you are, exactly where your character is. And that's like a big thing in kind of Toho games as well, especially because in a Toho game you can hear when your shot is damaging the enemy, the boss, and so you won't well, you won't need to look at the top of the screen in that case, because you'll be damaging them. So then in Toho you can focus more on the intense dodging of bullets. So it's going to depend on the game, obviously, but that's kind of a little bit of a primer on where to look. And that's a big hurdle for people, and I think some people don't ever really get over. But I think if you can practice certain parts and isolate those things alone, you can then learn these techniques in conquering a certain section, because then that transfers over to the rest. So you really want to know those fundamentals. So that's about on where to look. Alright, so since we're talking about techniques, let's see. I think I'll be able to demonstrate bullet hurting and cutback in another game here. Guange is not the best for that type of stuff. So I'm going to try to load up another game here. Let's see. I'm going to try to load up Dio. Yeah, let's load up Dio. So this is a game that I would not have 2L'd. I 2L'd this game for a shoot-a-game tournament on the Shmups forum way back, a few 3 or 4 years ago. It's a fun game, but I would never have been able to do it if I hadn't used the save states. So I think some of these are going to help me. Oh, whoa. I'm in Guange. So let's get out of there. And let's bring this back in. Oh, it's because I have this up here. Let me close that. So I think there's actually some good examples of like bullet hurting and stuff in this game. Anyway, this is a really kind of tough boss here. This will demonstrate just like some tap dodging stuff. So here you got yeah. So here you've got you've got some aimed bullets. You've got aimed bullets, but it's like a spread still. Actually, that might not be aimed. That might be fixed. Let's take a look at that again. Okay, so actually, I'm gonna go into More technique in learning shoot 'em ups is identifying the types of bullets. And so you basically have 2 or 3 main types of bullets in a shmup. You've got aimed bullets. So these little tank guys, those are definitely, they're shooting aimed bullets at me. That enemy there, let's see if I can get the mouse cursor on screen. Let me get that mouse cursor on screen and show you. So these enemies here, now these enemies are shooting fixed bullet patterns. Oops. And so what that means is they're always shooting in a specific location, so at that location I can't be there. So let's load this again. So we got the little aimed sniper tanks. Then you got the fixed attack there. They're kind of spamming it around. Then sometimes you'll get like aimed attacks, but the bullet that's aimed at you, it's actually aiming at you off center. So you've got to mind the different types. So there's aimed bullets that aim directly at you. There's fixed patterns. That's basically like a spread shot, like a big cannon or something that is just gonna shoot like in 3 directions. Always those same 3 directions. And then you're gonna have kind of the variations of the bullet patterns, and then you're gonna have the intricacies as well that goes with that. So, that was kind of like a really crazy pattern there. So let's see here. So you got a bunch of those aimed guys coming at me. And I'm using the kind of tap dodge movement. This is a very kind of a ride-in type of thing, but it applies to so many shmups. If the shmup is mainly focused on aimed bullets, you can always avoid them just from slightly tap dodging. And it's a great technique. The worst thing you want to do in a shmup is flail around like wildly like this. Like, look at me. Let's see how long I can do this. Just doopy-doo. See how long I can flail around. Oh, I'm dead. So you don't want to do that. Well, I would have died anyway, but I'm just trying to demonstrate here. I've not really played this boss in a long time, so here we go, an example of a boss. I wanted to practice. I gotta practice some. Ooh, and so yeah. Based on what I've said, you can get an idea of why this boss is kicking my ass here. It's that one bullet that keeps getting me there. So, how am I going to avoid that? Maybe I'll go back left now. Okay. So it looks like when he does the attacks, the center is a safe place to be. But wow, this guy's pretty intense. I forgot that, isn't there like a bomb button in this game? I would like to use bombs. Here, I just won't shoot. See what he does here. Boss is hard. So this is the second loop of this game. Anyway, there's like kind of a safe spot in the center there. Man, that attack is brutal. Maybe this will work. This boss is crazy. I have a feeling you're supposed to bomb this guy or something. He might actually be the final boss, I forget. So that's too crazy of a bullet pattern, but see if I can find some other techniques to show off. I haven't played this game in so long, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Let's see, what's going on here? Oh my god. So there you've got like that aimed kind of shot, and then you had that fixed kind of front laser. You got aimed bullets. So yeah, those guys have a crazy like kind of, well, they have those fixed shots that are shooting from the front, and they also like launch a volley of aimed bullets. So basically the lesson is mind mind the types of bullets when you're kind of analyzing a section. Okay, let's see. So I haven't demonstrated a cutback yet. So a cutback is like usually like kind of a modern game thing, a modern like Danmaku thing, where there's just so many bullets where you have to like make a window through. But okay, I can kind of demonstrate it here. I can kind of demonstrate it there, I think. Oh, I don't want to play this music. It's gonna get flagged on YouTube. All right, back to the Ginga Force. Let's see. I need a good save here. Was it this one? Ah, hell. So I just got too many save states. I don't know where I am. I'm lost in a sea of saves. So if you run out of save states, you might want to actually go into the Mame save state directory. It's the STA directory. Back up your old saves, and then you'll be able to get a full keyboard of more save states. So don't be afraid to use as many as you want. Try to stay organized when you're making them. You know, have like, you know, keys number 1 through 5 be like for a certain stage. Keys like 6 through 0 or 6 through 9, you know, be just for a boss. Have like, you know, Q through or W through Y or something be another stage. You want to have them kind of broken up in a way that makes sense, so that your practice is effective as well in that regard. So stay a little bit organized. All right, so I was gonna try to do a thing about bombing now. I think Batrider might be a good demonstration of that, so I'm gonna load up Batrider now. And hopefully that'll help me show off some other stuff too. Let's turn it down first. Okay, so bombing. Bombing and shmups. So, you know, the typical idea of a bomb and a shmup is they're supposed to save you in a, you know, they're supposed to help you out in difficult sections. When you use a bomb, a lot of times a bomb can clear the screen of bullets completely, or either it'll do like a ton of damage, or it will clear bullets in the vicinity of the bomb. It usually does something like that. And basically, the mentality you want to have when bombing is, it depends on where your comfort level is with the game. If you know exactly what the spots are you probably might need to bomb, you know, that's definitely something you want to keep in mind. And that's something you'll learn from your practice as well, and once you start doing full runs. So, well, since I've talked a lot of about save states and the practice you get from them, you know, certain sections, small sections, medium, large sections, or whatever. You're gonna want to go back into your, you're gonna want to do full runs occasionally to see where you actually stand in the run. And that's kind of you want to just do the run, not necessarily to, you know, get a new score or anything. It's, well, you do want to do better, obviously, but you want to use it to see where you're neglecting to, you know, focus on, and what places are getting you more often than not. So maybe you could do like, you know, one run after you feel comfortable with your practice. You do that run, and then you take the mistakes from that run, because you always want to use full runs as ways of finding, you know, the places you mess up, because ideally you just don't want to mess up at all, right? And if you're practicing, you'll know when it's, you know, it's a mess up because of, you know, either you know, one thing or another. It could be the game trolling you, or maybe you didn't execute it properly, or whatever. Let's see. This guy's not good for bombs. Where am I going to use a bomb? Oh, I think this is the third. Anyway, so yeah, do a couple runs and then, you know, examine. You always want to do a couple in between your save states, so I just want to get that in there. Back to bombing though. So yeah, so you got your different kinds of bombs. You basically have your panic bomb. That's going to be your bomb that you're going to be using on reflex to a shitty situation. And a lot of shmups, you can kind of get an idea of when things are about to go wrong. If it's like if it's very intense, you know, or if you if you get out of the flow, you can kind of sense when you're gonna want to use one, and at that point, use a bomb. Also, if a game is if you're learning a game or whatever, and you see that a section is giving you a bomb, that's usually a good sign that you should use a bomb at that section. So also keep that in mind. I've seen that so many times in a lot of older shmups. There's also the strategic bomb, and that's the bomb that's going to do like a ton of damage, or you're going to want to, like, you know, use it offensively, and that's usually a bomb that you're going to be plan ahead to use. So you basically have your bombs. It's just another resource for you to use, and in the Rising games, they're a pretty important resource to use, because you can constantly use them over and over. So it's like, uh-oh, I couldn't dodge that, so I bombed, or whatever. This is not a great part here. Let's see. What else could I demonstrate here? Okay, so I'm gonna try to bomb this guy when I need to. So Envy can troll you up. Like, this is a possible part where I need to bomb, because that yellow laser is hard to tell where it's gonna be. It depends on his positioning there. But yeah, I mean, you know, given that you practice, you know, most things are going to be doable to, you know, actually sort of survive. Okay, this attack is pretty annoying though. This can get you like that. Can't really react with a bomb to that. All you can do is just bomb, and all you can really do against this is to, like, just kind of bomb and hoping it's gonna finish him off or whatever. Ooh, that's one of the craziest patterns in this game. Whew. All right, so I think I'm getting through some of this info. Hopefully this is actually going to be helpful. I'm actually already approaching an hour. Crap. Okay, so I'm gonna try to hurry up here. I wanted to try to demonstrate the cutback, but that's more of like a Dodonpachi thing, or very like Danmaku thing. The idea behind like a cutback, I know there's some boss that could demonstrate it. I must have something here. Nah, these are all like normal. This is all like normal mode stuff. That's why it sucks. Yeah, I need like a different boss. Yeah, this game not too good at demonstrating right now. But okay, so we talked about bombing. Basically, the cutback. You know, in a modern bullet hell, you know, they'll have just tons of aimed bullets, like so many that in order to you know, get to, you know, keep the game going, when you go to one side of the screen or you get close to the edge, or something like that. Oh man, the extent of the jam does a way better job of explaining it, but basically the idea is the cutback is a quick movement to bait the aimed bullets that are very, very aggressive. It's to bait them so that they start angling the bullets in like a spread, and then within that spread, you know, when it's retargeting you based off your position, the cutback is kind of falling back at that point, then dodging through that angled shot that was that the enemy had to adjust to get you, and that is a cutback. It's a little hard to. I don't have a great game to show it off, or I don't have a great part to show it off. Maybe the highway section could show it off actually. So I don't know. Ooh. So I don't know, like, you know, your typical thing is you're kind of going from the left to the right side of the screen in general. I can kind of. So that was bad. So okay, this is actually a good place to demonstrate. Kind of their rough idea. Let's see. Okay, this is highway D. Oh nope, too far ahead now. Oh, this is wrong place again. Is this the right one? Nope. I need. I'm losing my save states. I'm lost in a sea of save states again. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna be linking that guide here. Anyway, so this is kind of a busy section of this game, but gap dodging here. It lightens up, and then it's gonna get serious again, right here. So I'm getting like aim shots, I'm getting fixed shots. Those are all like fixed shots, those straight ones. Not many aimed ones at that point. You got these guys that have the aimed like spread shots. The middle shot comes at you. Etc. etc. Okay, so I'm gonna try to move on now to taking your run and then bringing it into the full run. So I'm just gonna let this play. I'm just gonna let this kind of play out here. So now you've practiced the sections, etc. You kind of know what to expect. Now you're bringing it into a real run, and basically, if you're going to be doing a real run, make sure you're well rested. Make sure you got a good night's sleep, because shmups and any type of skill-based gaming is going to require you to be pretty alert. It's going to require you to feel good, because if you're not feeling good, if you're not feeling comfortable, if you're not awake, you're going to be blaming yourself for things that you probably don't need to blame yourself for, and it's just going to be it's going to bungle up your practice. It's going to bungle up everything if you do that. I've been using that word lately, bungle. But I was saying before, you want to do the full runs. You know, after a good little practice session, in the full extent of the jam, ProMetheus said, you know, he does 80% practice, 20% real runs, and I think that's a good ratio to go for. And once again, different games are going to be kind of different ratios of that, but I think it's a good ratio to do. And you're gonna see where you stand in the real game when you're doing a run. And if you're not satisfied with that real run, like if you feel like you should have done better, you know, do some more runs until you feel like you had something that actually met your expectations. Because you're taking your practice and you're bringing that right into the actual game, and so you're basically bringing those standards and expectations that you've fulfilled in the practice session into the real run. And they're not always going to transfer over perfectly. Like I say, there's going to be flow. There's going to be a flow that you have to consider. You know, there could be RNG. You know, some shmups are, you know, this is straightforward. You know, whatever. It's always going to be the same. Not all games are like that. Some games are more heavy on the RNG, specifically the Rising type of shmup. Or a lot of just video games have RNG elements. And what I mean by that is they're just random elements. They're nothing you can control. They're gonna make the game different every time. And you know, I tend to like games that are more like that, because it then stresses, or it emphasizes reaction and adapting to the gameplay instead of rote memorization. And I like adapting instead of rote memorization personally a bit more. But when it comes to really getting a crazy score, like you usually do end up having quite a bit of memorized stuff. I know. I think the super player for Ketsui said in an interview that that Ketsui ended up being like 80% like 80% memorization or memo gameplay, where he has a route, he's going through it a certain way, but 20% of it, or I think 10% of it, he said was action, or like parts that you need to adjust for on the fly. And yeah, that's very intense when it comes to scoring in Ketsui. This video's, like I say, it's gonna apply to various games, but it's gonna vary, so you have to know the game. Let's see. So yeah, like have a goal from your practice session, and have a goal for your actual run in mind. If your goal is too high, like you're always going to be met with disappointment, and you're always going to be failing. Like you want to have some success in your actual run. So set yourself a goal when you go from practice to the actual game that you can meet, whether it be just getting like one stage further, more score at a certain stage, just anything really, because you want to see that improvement. It's what's going to be driving you to get better. Alright, and so you're doing real runs now, you're comfortable with everything you've learned, but still, there's another thing to consider, and that's nervousness. And that's going to be something every player deals with in an actual run. And depending on the game, they're gonna bullcrap you with something probably near the end of the game or close to the end that can ruin the whole run in some cases. In some games, a whole run is going to be hinged on something near the end. So nervousness, one way or another, is going to be something you're going to have to deal with. And most of all, I think experience is going to help you deal with nervousness. But there's some good tips for dealing with nervousness. I say one of them is just when you have like kind of spare moments in the run, take a deep breath. Like remember that you're concentrating on the game, because it's easy to get distracted. But and if you can pause the game to really like collect yourself after a really crazy section, go ahead and pause the game if you want to. I know with arcade games and like real time attacks, speedruns, etc., you can pause, but this video is gonna be for basically anyone. So if you're feeling nervous and you really want to beat that next certain part, but you feel like your nervousness is gonna get you, just feel free to pause. I know I had a moment like that with my Gradius 4 run. I was playing Gradius 4 on the PS2, and I beat the Moe stage on the second loop for the first time, and I was just like going ape shit. Like the adrenaline was just out of this world, but I knew the next stage was probably going to kick my ass if I wasn't calm for it, so I paused for like a good couple minutes. But that stage still ended up getting me, that next stage, so it's not always going to work, obviously. But yeah, I'd say to eliminate nervousness ahead of time, try to be confident with your game plan. Know what your weaknesses are. Basically know what your weaknesses are, and don't stress yourself too much if you're not meeting those expectations. Oh yeah, one of the worst things to do during a run is to think a what if statement. And this is in the ProMetheus guide too, but I really like that he mentioned it. Do not ever think, what if I get the run? What if this is the run? What if the boss does this to me? Oh no. Don't ever think that, because it more often than not leads to your demise. It usually becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy if you're thinking too hard on something. And actually, this is something I still struggle with, and actually this has been something that's been plaguing me really badly with Battle Garega, the Sage After Cloud, the base stage, I believe. I've been I always go into that stage thinking I'm gonna fuck it up, and whenever I think that, I do fuck it up. So now, when I'm going back to that game, I'm gonna practice that section again, and I'm just gonna be like, I got this, because I've just been fucking it up so much. I've just been expecting that it happens, and then it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So watch out for that pitfall, because it's definitely real. Okay, and so that's basically going to cover most of what it's like to practice your various games. I could have went more into the different techniques of shmups, but this is kind of just a general primer on setting up Mame and some other stuff. So it's kind of my own type of video for this. So basically, I hope people get Mame going and you try out some various arcade games, because, well, I love arcade games and etc. And shmups tend to be the majority of those. Well, a lot of them at least. But yeah, Mame is awesome. Was there any other questions or things that you guys think I should have addressed? And I'm gonna take a look at the chat now as well, see if there's anything I maybe missed on mentioning. Oh, for fun too, I'll show you guys how my practice in Ghouls and Ghosts is going, to give you an idea of a non-shmup that I have save states and I practice for. So I'm practicing this game for survival. Now I'm gonna have to recapture this, I believe. I'll give you guys an idea of what I'm doing here. I'm gonna want to. I think I want to kill this other thing. Or... All right, give me a moment. Whoa! Look at that, Ghouls and Ghosts. So save states have been a huge help in practicing this game, actually, for speed. But let's just take a look at what I got here. Since this is not a shmup, I'll just show you. So I got I got this section up here. This is one of the sections I've been trying to advance on. Oh no! And just have all the little parts represented. So here's a little specific save state, just to fight the armor here, etc., etc. Anyway, I think you guys get the idea. I got something very specific for this part. This is a pretty hard trick to do, so I can grind it this way. I gotta be 100% confident with this right here, and I'm not yet. That's what's making my ghouls runs a little bit annoying. Oh, I'm a little late on the first one. I don't think I should have died to that one. So, make sure you got your stuff down, etc., etc. So that'll pretty much do it. Oh yeah, I was gonna mention also picking your controller. That was also a thing on the guide. Basically, when it comes to picking your controller, do what you feel confident in. Don't feel like you need to play with an arcade stick. You don't have to, etc., etc. Just do whatever you feel comfortable with. I will say though, arcade stick is the most fun to use. Any method is gonna work. But yeah. Okay, I think that's gonna do it. So, thanks guys for tuning in. I hope this is gonna be helpful for people. I feel like I just ranted on and nobody gives a shit, but hopefully this is good. So, thanks guys for tuning in, and till next time, I think we're gonna try to do something Halloween-y this month. Some more fun episodes this month, so look forward to that. I'm gonna try to have some fun on the show this month. Not sure how crazy we'll get with scoring stuff or any of that, but I'm gonna try to get an awesome game replays episode going on this month too. So anyway, guys, thanks for bearing with me, or hopefully this was helpful. Anyway, good luck with the games, and see you guys around.